Hello, this is Bridget Rau with Divine Essentials. So, this is one of those times where getting in the shower, getting dressed, putting makeup on, being in front of the fucking camera is not gonna happen because I'm dying. And it hurts so bad. I have gout. I think that's the only thing it can be, because I've looked and researched and done the deep, dive into what the fuck is this and why does it hurt so bad and what do I need to do to make it stop. But I think it's also people, there's things out there, but people, I think we bring things on by other things happening, or it's they're like, oh wow, that turned into that. Fuck. What the fuck? How? And why? Basically is what I feel like I'm constantly trying to figure out with internal and external. And I know it's all connected. And I recently figured out, your feet, when your feet mess up, it's it could be tied to your living conditions and your stress about financial situation and that stuff. And it fucks your feet up because that's your grounding to the earth, your root, your energy, basic need, survival instinct. Being sick fucking kicks up some instincts inside of you of oh my god, how am I gonna survive? Because you can't do much. So it sucks. You gotta try to really be fucking smart and deliver when you can and not when you can't, and hope that people are understanding that I'm just dying and doing my best with what I've got. Sometimes best is dead in bed for days. And that's why I think the podcast would help me help you, because I can still deliver what's inside of my brain, and I still get guided. Spirit is still here. But I'm help! Please help me! What am I doing wrong? And they do help me. They show me. And I know it's me. And it's the trauma. I'm doing it. It's a work. It's a lot of fucking work. And if you haven't been through a lot of fucking shit, then you probably won't be able to understand how fucking deep you have to go to heal. And you're never done until you're done. If we keep hanging out with people that fucking hurt us, or we keep doing stupid shit that we know this isn't good, this thing is not gonna end well, or this thing is too much on me emotionally or physically or whatever it is. Why am I stressing myself out all the fucking time? Thinking these things that are just detrimental, they're gonna create. But we can't help it because we're human, and the whole world is trying to make people fearful all the time. Not everybody. There's a lot of people out there, but it depends on what you see. Even me, I haven't watched TV in years. It's been years. I've watched TV a few times at other people's houses, for maybe a couple hours while I was present, but I haven't put on my TV by myself in a room since I lived in the old house. And even back then, it was noise, because I'd have my laptop there, and I would be working on my laptop, or doing something with the dogs, on my lap. I was never really watching TV, even at the place before that place. My ex used to come in the room and be why isn't the TV on? Everybody that's used to TV is used to TV, being on, and doing shit. That's keeping you from connecting. It's keeping you from, listening or thinking. It's a distraction, because so many of us are distracting ourselves constantly. We're going on to Instagram and scrolling, and we're going on to here and we're scrolling, and we're going over here and we're scrolling. There's nothing. That didn't exist years ago. So people are getting messed up from that, because they're not connecting with people. They're only seeing the good stuff that other people are putting out. Nobody's out there just living, even in the moments that they're living, they're doing it behind a screen. Like, everybody, oh, we're recording from our phone. Like, everything is recorded. Everything, nobody is ever looking at the actual thing. They're looking at it through their phone. And there's filters, and there's things, and there's lies, and there's illusions, and it makes everybody trying to be the best that they can be, and it's just too much. It's too much. You can't do it all the time, especially if you have gout. It's like, no, you're gonna die for a couple of days. I'm like, oh, please stop this pain. What do I do? How? Help me, anybody. I just sent my dad a message today. I'm like, I need help. Because it's been like 3 days and I can't do anything. I've just been sleeping, waking up, take half the edible, have a fucking like hard time functioning, deliver like one private reading, and then die and try to function. I think like yesterday I sent back emails that were like, oh, gout, ouch, gout. Like, they don't make any sense. Like, people are probably like, oh my god, she's dying. But I just, it hurts. It really hurts. But there's not much I can do. And I'm pissed because I was going to put, like, I have a notebook in front of me right now that I apparently left outside in the rain. And this is the one that I had put everything in it for the next time that I was going to talk about trauma and some of the shit that it does. But, like, me right now, this thing of like, hey, sometimes I don't think I can talk or be on camera. Sometimes my fucking foot feels like it's on fire for days, and it's like the most excruciating pain in the world. That's what trauma can do to you. So that's one of the things, like, that if we don't deal with it, if we're not working on it, if we're not getting it out of our fucking body, it will kill us from the inside. And it does catch up with you, and it can catch up with you like all of a sudden, whoa, boom, here you go. You've got fucking this or that or whatever. And it's like painful. So, if you have any painful things, pay attention to them and what they're connected to in your body, because they're probably connected somewhere in that body. They'll be like, whoa, what is that? Trauma and starseeds, I can see a little bit of my stuff. So basically, like, ADHD is one of those things that I really thought I was starting to see like the memes for it and shit. I don't know, these algorithms are becoming way too smart. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, like, Google knows what's wrong with me, like, before I know what's wrong with me. They're like showing me fucking things. And that's right, like, they still get you. Like, they're still getting us. They're figuring out how to make us scared, so that we start projecting and creating from a place that's like, oh, I'm scared of that. And that's what happens. And if you are really good at creating, like fast creator, you create shit real fast, and then it's hard to break that creation. You've got to stop and, like, whew. I've seen it both ways. I've seen myself create a beat out like, woohoo, awesome, to like, real bad. My mother used to do it too, and she created real bad. A lot. But every once in a while there would be like something in there that's like, what the fuck did you do? How did you pull that off? Like, this is insane. She got away with a lot of shit too. She was magic, like, on a big scale. She never did stuff small. But we just didn't talk about it. Like, oh, okay, that was a good experience, I guess, to learn for later on at some point. I don't know. I did learn a lot of things though that helped me, that I've realized a lot of other people don't know, like some of the things that I know about or have done or do. And it usually just comes out like in a reading or something, like a person, like, I'm like, I don't know if you've ever heard, I feel like I should tell you this, but I don't know, you might already know. Like, I feel bad saying it, because I don't want to be that person that's like, I don't know everything, I don't know all the stuffs, but I know some things, and I do have a lot of experience with weird shit that's like, oh yeah, like when my mother was denied for fucking disability, they usually get a lawyer involved, and like that's how my dad got on his. I just sent in a letter and was like, blah, 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 and like appealed it on my own, and she got it, and everybody was like shocked that happened. But that's the thing, like, nobody ever does that stuff. Like, just do it. Just see what happens. Like, maybe somebody on the other side is compassionate. You're talking to humans. And humans, for the most part, like when something breaks, a lot of people have this tendency to, like, oh, I don't, like, I'm like, do you have the thing that says warranty for 5 years on it? Like, call them up. Because they don't care who you're talking to. Like, that person you're talking to is just another person working there, getting like $8 an hour to work there. They don't care about, like, whatever. Some of them can be dicks or whatever, but for the most part, they don't care. Because it's like, as long as you're polite and nice and and you work with each other, usually you'll get a whole new machine sent to you, or like things will be replaced for free. Like people have like guilt or whatever. It's like, that's what that's for. It's a write-off. Like, they're gonna be fine. Like, they're just gonna write that off. They don't even know ever about this thing that happened here, because they're somewhere, like, way up in the middle of the fucking, like, the chain of money. Like, they don't care. So just realize, like, most of the people, if there's somebody that gets, like, weird about power, like, that can happen, and that can be, like, kind of stupid when they do that, but as long as you don't work for somebody like that, you're usually fine. Like, the people who are, like, power, like, oh, I'm a manager of Macy's. Like, so what? There's 7,000 of you in one store. Shut up. Like, but they get weird. And they're like, I'm powerful. Like, they're mean to others that work with them. The only time I've ever been mean to, like, people when I worked with them is when I was a waitress. Because people are dumb and slow. And I would be like, get your shit together. And I also ran a place that was my brothers and sisters working for me as, like, bus people and sitting down people. I'm like, get it, people! My sisters and brother have their work ethic from me, because I hired them all for their first job and was like, rah, ba, 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 ba. Like, so now they go in places and they work like I do, and they do good. They, like, you know, excel. Get up the little ladder of wherever they are. Or they fucking decide to dip out. I did a lot of that, dipping out of places when I didn't like it. But that's usually somebody that should work for themselves. When you keep, like, either taking over the entire place, or you can't stand it by, like, having people telling you what to do. That's probably an indication that you should just be doing it on your own. So yeah, I had all these notes that are now all kind of messed up, and I had planned on just, like, sharing. So the ADHD, we just saw in action, is one of those things, okay? It's like, you get distracted, but it's not because you're ADHD. It's fucking trauma. It's like, it starts, okay, think of, like, your parents, they got a divorce, that's one song playing in the back of your head. And then something bad happens at school, that's another song playing in the back of your head. And then something happens and you have, like, your first love, and oh, break up, oh, that's another song playing in your head. And then you have, like, something bad, like something toxic, maybe whatever, somebody gets sick and dies, like, or somebody just gets sick and almost dies but comes back, but they're a totally different person. Okay, that's another fucking song. Like, all these songs playing up in your head, and after a while it's like too many songs, you know. So I mean, like, that's why I had to turn the fucking TV off. like there's enough going on up here right now, we gotta turn the TV off and listen, because there's a lot that wants to be said or shared or out or fucking acknowledged. Things that I don't remember, things that I do remember, things that are like whatever. So we just have to acknowledge it. I've been writing. Like, writing helps me. Like, I don't think 90% of what I write will ever be seen by anybody. I throw out a lot of it. Like, sometimes I'm like, after like 6 months of writing, I'm like, I've got to throw this out. Like, there's too much writing here. Like, gotta go. And I have to. Like, I'm like a fucking machine of writing. It's insane. But every once in a while, I'll have, like, a trash bag of writing that can go, because I buy notebooks and I fill them. But then a lot of it comes out of me too. Like, I think I write before I speak. But lately, I haven't been recording as much as I used to. So it's like, it's been written, but it hasn't been spoken. It needs to be spoken. So, and it's not even usually like, it doesn't have to be my own stuff. Like, me sharing a reading or me sharing, like, these things, it's like, this is where I go, this is what I end up connecting to, and it's always different. It always, like, spirals around. Usually the people who come to me at some point, or they find me at some point, they're like, they come in and I speak to them directly in some way that makes them feel like you understand. That's the biggest thing that people usually have when they come. And the thing that sucks about it is, like, I do understand, but it's also spirit talking through me. So it's like my personal self, like who I am, I don't remember. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Some of the stuff that comes out of me is like, it's not me. It's just, I'm just the deliverer. I don't know. I'm sorry. But if you haven't done that, or you don't do that for people, it's a weird situation. It's a weird place, because it depends on, like, how well you know, like, and some people are stronger than others. And I think some people are meant to come into your life closer than others, and some aren't. And some come and learn and go, and then they, like, you know, come back around, or they, like, don't, or they, you know, find another thing that, or you're just done with your part of that person's journey, or your karma thingy is checked for now, you know, and you're good. But I don't even know what I'm talking about. See, this is my brain doing that ADD thing. But it is all connected somehow. Yeah, see, it's all connected. I don't even know what I'm doing half the time, but it's all connected. But you may have those things if you've had trauma, a lot of stuff going on in your life, or just too many things. And it's not even like it has to be like somebody was mean to you, attacking you, or whatever. It's just like, did shit happen? Because that's kind of traumatic. You know, oh, we just went through a worldwide trauma with fucking COVID. So not only do we already have people messed up, like, getting further and further away from humans, then we took all human connection away for the people who did have it. You know, like, maybe they were going to, like, a weekly thing where they saw people talk to them, you know, hug, like, human connection, where that's what we are as beings, is people who do need that on some level. But a lot of us don't do it, or we, like, block. We're like, I'm just gonna hide over here by myself and I'll be safe. It's not the best thing to do, because it's not, I don't know, it's just not. It's like, don't do that. If you're doing that, try to not do that. You know, just go for a walk, I guess. I don't know. Leave the house. I should leave the house more. But anyways, ADHD is one of those things that they will, you know, get wrong around people. Like, they'll give it to you, and it's not even that. It's just that there's so many things that have happened to you that have traumatized you that you're, like, distracted, or you can't focus, or your brain is broken. So, the things that I talked about last time, if you didn't hear that one, I did give, like, things that you could do. In this one, I was going to talk about, like, some of the stuff that happens that you may not realize, like people become avoidants when they have trauma. They could be afraid that they're gonna, you know, have that happen again, or they, like, don't want to go into any type of, like, conflict or whatever, because it happened when they, like, they don't want to do it again. So they kind of just, like, avoid people, avoid conflict, avoid, like, they just agree. They're just going to agree with you because they're avoiding anything happening that's not kosher. They're like, I just need everything to be cool, calm, collected all the time, which isn't good, because they're not being real, and that's going to run into fucking problems when you do that stuff and you don't tell people what you really want, you know, or who you really are. They get confused by you, and you also get confused by you. So try not to avoid. And also, I think I did mention last time, but this is something else. It's like our brain, the traumas will release chemicals in our brains to turn off our memories. So we may, you know, even be avoiding to that level of not even remembering it, like, just, like, on the other side of it. In an attempt to conserve energy, in case of another attack, a lot of us will have an inability to experience good, because we're always, like, avoiding well, like, we just, like, we don't want good or bad. We're just like, I can't have any input right now because I'm scared or, like, nervous, or I don't even want to. I just can't. I just got to focus on me. Or that people can numb themselves and shut down. So that happens. The autobiography is something to do in that case too. Like, if you feel like you've shut down or your memory is gone around things, writing an autobiography. You don't have to share it with anybody. You don't have to show nobody. You just do it for you. You could do it through poems. You could do it through, there's people out there that pay so much money to go through a poem course or a poem class because of how healing they are. I've been taking these, like, courses here and there, but I just finished, like, my other one that was healing with writing. And it's basically just asking yourself questions, like, what is the meaning of life to me? Or, like, what is my mission? What is my purpose? Why am I here? I also have a codependent one too. It's like how to go from codependent to independent. And, like, they give you things to do or ways to recognize, like, oh, like, does this happen to you? Shit, that might be a bad thing. Like, if that keeps happening, the same thing, maybe you need to put up better boundaries. Okay, and then I'm learning how to safely forgive and live well. I hold the keys to the gate of my heart, mind, and body. I can be kind, merciful, and not get hurt. I pay attention to my sense and security. Each time I've connected with somebody, they have pushed into my experiences. How did it feel? Or what have they done each time they've come into your life? Or every time, each time I forgive or forget in a certain circumstance, what happens? Ask yourself, like, each time I forgive so-and-so, what happens? Each time I've connected with so-and-so, what happens? Because whoever the first person is that just jumped into your mind and, like, the first thing, that you answer with that's probably an indication right there. Something's going on with that person. Like, if somebody just jumps into your mind when I give you that little prompt, you would want to be like, let me look at that, and each time I forgive them, what happens? Am I met with good stuff, or is it like, oh, we're repeating a cycle? Because if that's the thing, I've got to change the cycle. So prompt writing is good because those are like prompts, like, giving you just a boom, 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 or stream of conscious writing. It's like, I read that thing in the video I did before. It was like, hey guys, how are you on YouTube? I said in it, like, I started off writing about a topic and ended up over here in a totally other place. But even in that, messages come through. So if you have that ability where spirit speaks to you like that, you should share those things online or with others or in a group that you feel, will accept you or whatever. Like, people can comment their stuff in Alcyon Light Healing or, like, Moon Key Writes group. Those two are on Facebook. But I also have, like, the group on my website. There's one on there that's free, but we don't really, like, use it. And then there's the other one that is connected to the old membership stuff that I had. It's hard because, like, when you sign up on YouTube, it's not like you're not there. So you would have to, like, go to do something if you wanted to be a part of it. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people won't do things. Like, if you're going to market and share yourself online, realize that unless you're giving them a direct link with, like, hey, this is wicked easy, one thing, a lot of people won't do it because it's like, whatever, I don't care. Like, they just don't realize, like, it's not that much, but if you do it, it's there, like, oh, they just don't, I don't know, there has to be, like, a thing behind it too, of, like, motivation. Like, why am I going to do that? What am I going to get? That's big. I have a hard time with marketing myself because of my own inner insecurities and stuff. But if you want to market yourself online, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. You just need to believe in yourself and be like, I'm valuable and I deserve to be paid for my time. Or I have information that others don't have about something. Or take whatever you know and turn that into something good that you can help other people, or like mix two worlds together with. Like I had a girl last night. I get a lot of people who ask me about this stuff because I think they probably pop in on something and see me doing it to somebody else or whatever. It's like, it just comes. I don't know. Like, hey, what's up, spirit? Like, they just come through. And they give people, like, set things. Like, you could do this with, like, crystals and jewelry and blah, blah. Like, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't even matter, though. Anybody out there, who you are. Like, whatever you do, you don't have to do something you don't want to do. And if you have something you're interested in, and you know information about it that other people don't know, that's all it really is being like a couple feet ahead of the stuff, you know? Like, there's always going to be people behind us or above us, or, you know, in either direction. So we might as well just accept that. Like, I'm never going to be perfect, and I'm never going to be, you know, changing unless I decide to make changes. And if I want to be the person, like, right there, then I have to work to be there. So I'm going to maybe try to keep myself moving in that direction of, like, I could be doing better, or I could be doing what I like to do, or I could be doing more of what I like to do, or I could do this as a side hustle and see how it goes. Because people who approach it like that usually turn it into more because they don't have the attachment to outcome. But I don't know how many of you guys out there are into all that. I feel like a lot of people find their way here to spirit world, and then over time, depending on if they really have the gifts or not, they come out and share them, you know, or they get more comfortable with them, or they just share them, because there's people out there who do it, but like they're not like, you know, crazy. Like, there's so many people everywhere doing it, and everybody has their people that will find them and resonate with them. Usually they connect too. Like, I had somebody, I can't remember the name of the lady with the pink roses, Lady Nada. Lady Nada started showing up like years ago, and she showed up at the time with the King of Swords, was like who they were talked about in this thing that I found through being on Facebook, seeing like a comment in a group from some guy to some girl, and it was like whatever he said was something I had heard earlier that day. So I clicked on the link and I went in, and it was this big, huge, like, Wikipedia thing on fucking Jesus and all these people. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I in here? Because this is what happens. And, like, I go searching and I'm seeking, and I find things that all, it's like somebody said that today. I read that thing. I go in, okay, that's something else. Boop. Like, I just find the pieces that they want me to see. And Lady Nada started showing up a lot with synchronistic stuff. And I even changed the homepage of Divine Essential. I had 2 pink roses on the front page at that time because of how much the pink rose was showing up. And I was like, this is insane. She supposedly, you know, was like the twin flame of somebody else, and like, and it was weird. That was the deck, because she's in one of the decks. She's in the deck that the friggin' Bridget and Cernunnos are twin flames in. For some reason, I don't think that's true, but that's, like, this deck has, like, all these people put together. Like, she has, pretty sure she had somebody in there that as twin flames that are, like, mother and son. For Isis, I think she had her son. I don't know. The deck is weird. It has, like, these little weird things. But Lady Nada being in there was one of the major factors. Like, Lady Nada was a thing, and she showed up, brought in information, was here for a while. Later on, I ended up finding a light activation from some random woman on Etsy, and when you buy her thing, it's like a download, like MP3 download that she's recorded. It was Lady Nada, like, light language. I listened to that, and then I was like seeing shit, you know, like, I was like, oh wait, that did something, because it was the days after that I was like seeing myself in blood and doing weird shit with my psychic vision. So those things that we get guided to, there's a reason it happens, and it's all usually interconnected. It's just following the little puzzle clue, like, oh, which way, which connects, where do I go next? So I don't really know exactly what else I've written in here. But I know there's a lot of things, and I know that I wrote down, like, I know what I watched. Maybe there's like chapters on it that I can just like go back and get. But changing in your beliefs is one thing I can see here. So if you're somebody that you went through trauma or you went through abuse with anybody at any time in your life, sometimes that leads you to have a change in your beliefs, and you could believe things like nobody is nice, and it's like absolute things like the whole world sucks. Like, really? Do you think the whole world sucks? Because I'm sure there's parts of the world that don't suck, like there's that type of thing, like where it's a belief. It's not, you don't maybe really truly believe it, or there's not really evidence of that, or there's, like rational looking at, like, okay, the entire world from, the whole wide thing, there's stuff there that's not so bad, or some parts of it are safe, because sometimes we go to like, nobody is safe on the planet, just like really not good things, like there's no good people, let's see, work for things, mistakes, does that deserve, so like basically saying like the abuse and things that you've been through, or whatever you've had, like or whatever you did, because a lot of times people hold on to guilt and stuff too, and like blame themselves when something happens, and it's just things happen, but they might take on, the wrong thing of like, I'm no good. So is that true though? Like, are you no good? Like, you've never done any good for anybody at any time? I highly doubt that. But we want to change those beliefs in ourselves, because if we stay in that belief where there's no evidence of truth of like that, there's no safe places, or there's no good people, or no one will care, or whatever that is that we're telling ourselves, we're going to create that reality by believing that. So we want to get rid of the false ones and ask ourselves, is that, true? Like, is the world completely, dangerous? Truly all the time? Or is that just a, thing that we're holding on to because it wasn't for that minute? Or we could have distorted blame. We could blame ourselves. We could blame somebody that, like, like if I didn't care about you, this wouldn't have happened. That can happen. Or persistent changes in beliefs, like, fear, horror, getting all focused on that type of stuff, just, you may not have been the type of person that was always like focused on the negative, focused on fear, or thinking in that way, but if you go through something like over extended time, even that's childhood abuse, or where it's not even abuse, it's just like it is, but it's like it's not what most people who think of, like if you went through it, right, you're not thinking like, oh, this is really abusive, like because you don't notice, because you don't know that like other people didn't go through that, like it's just normal to you, so you're not realizing like, oh, and it's not like your parents wanted to maybe abuse you, it's like they just didn't know, they just didn't have the tools to do for themselves what they needed to do for you, so there was just nobody knowing. Now we know that a lot of that happened, like we had the baby boom, I think was a big problem for people, because it was like everybody, boom, just babies everywhere, nobody, too many children, how do we take care of them all? So somebody might have dropped the ball on a few, that dropped the ball on a few more, that dropped the ball on a few more, it's like everybody keeps passing it down. So if we stop it, when we realize like, oh wait, that may not have been so normal, like if it didn't feel good, it probably isn't something that most people want to be doing. But it happens, and then it causes these things inside of us. Or we hold on to guilt and shame. We could have the fight or flight type of thing going on inside of us. Like, we're either defensive all the time, or we're taken off, because we're like, I'm just going to run away from you, so I don't have to fight. There could be a loss of control when you feel like things are unknown. Like, how am I going to rescue this thing? Or like, how can I help? Like, getting all nervous about stuff. You feel like a loss of control that can make you like isolate, or just be like nervous, or try to distract yourself. Another thing that can help people is to realize the resilience that they have to overcome things. They could look at their survivor stories. They could look at their shape, like how they've changed forever. A lot of people need to go through the grief process too. So sometimes people go through like grief, acceptance, denial, anger, all of the stages of grief when they have something bad happen. And then they could have associated thoughts that are kind of threatening to them or destructive. They could have challenging, things happening inside of their mind that you'd want to, again, look at as like, this evidence for truth here. Is this really real, or is this just a belief? Are my sources reliable that I'm like getting about these things that I'm thinking? Is this my personal like fact or feeling? Is this thing something that's really fact, or am I just feeling it? Because sometimes we feel things that are not right. So based on habits or facts, is it what does bad look like, feel like? How does it, what's it like, what's the fact about that? It's basically coming up with like comparison, almost like, this is good and this is bad. Now, is this good or bad? Like, let's look at it. And who told us that? Where else can we find evidence that proves that that's the case? Like, that, so-and-so is poop. Like, they're just a bad person. Like, is there evidence for that? Yeah. Who told you? Like, what is it, And it depends. Sometimes it's going to be fact. Sometimes it's not going to be fact. But it's like trying to look at it without the emotions involved can sometimes help us to realize, like, okay, maybe somebody is the way that they are, or somebody did what they did or whatever, but it's not necessarily, like, your fault, like learning about what's going on with people and yourself and like all of those things can help you to realize, like, oh, that's why that keeps happening, like, or why somebody might be treating not so well, or just even themselves, like what's going on with them. We figure these things out and then have like facts or more evidence to prove us, like, oh, this isn't just that I'm a horrible piece of crap. I'm a good person. I'm just, I made mistakes. I've had some problems, or I'm learning as I go. What is that? Oh yeah, then there's people who go into the reckless stage where they get like all destructive, like they could be racing around in their cars, abuse of drugs. They don't care if they live or die. They just want to make the pain stop, basically. And they want to increase their dopamine, so they may be the type that would like, jump out of a plane for excitement. And they could also just try to numb themselves or distract themselves with like drugs and alcohol. And then some will repeat things over and over again too. Like they don't want to win again. They don't want to lose again, basically. So they might repeat the same thing with other people over and over so that they can come out on top, like as the winner. And it may just not even be conscious. Like they just may be like, I'm going to leave and be like victorious in this situation. Before you can hurt me, I'm going to hurt you, things like that. So, increased arousal as well. A lot of people who go through this type of stuff go from 0 to 100 real quick. Like when the dogs bark, it's like, like my whole body, it just, I'm traumatized, hypervigilant, aware. Like you hear every creak, you hear every like noise, you know what's going on in the world around you on like a high alert system. That's usually tiresome because you're always fucking on alert. And even in your own house, you're aware of like the way the dog's breathing, you're aware of this, you're aware of that. It's like you hear everything, you notice everything, you notice like the small little like in the kitchen. Everything is enhanced. And you can't concentrate because, a lot of stuff is like inside of you all the time. You could be trying to protect yourself or prevent things, with that high alert system. it's trying to make yourself safe, or try to make a safe space too. Like sometimes people need to have a room where they can see the exits, like when they go to bed at night. Like they need to be able to see the window or the door, know like what's going on around them. They might feel more secure in a room that's like no windows and doors, like maybe just one on the way in and out. But I don't know. Everybody's different. That kind of freaks me out thinking about it. I'm like, I don't just want one door in and out. Oh my God, I need extra. Ah! I'm like having a panic attack thinking about that thought. And I'm like, that's trauma. Okay? I need multiple ways away. You might have a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep. And when you sleep, you could, be like in like a war zone almost. Or you need to make a safe place that, like I'm not gonna have anything get me, nothing's gonna be bad, no monsters under the bed type of thing. Sometimes make like my Reiki room, like if I go in there, the dogs aren't as loud, like even if they do bark, I probably won't hear them as quickly as I would like being right next to them. And like meditating or something, just going somewhere that's safe, feels comfortable, is nice to you, is the way to kind of get away from bad stuff. Or taking a shower, like I'm gonna go shower and change my energy, change my clothes, change like this situation, change your space, change the layout, change the color, change whatever. Like me and my dad are getting ready to sand the floors because they're just like, whoever did them before never finished them like completely, like ever. There's a lot of that here. I don't know why. Like, the windows, like, they're stained, but they didn't, like, seal the stain, so when the fucking, like, and there's no things that catch the water, so when it rains, and if you don't close the window, it comes in, but it, like, leaks the color onto the wall from the stain of the windowsill. And I was like, why is it doing that? Like, I couldn't figure out, like, at first when we came, there had been, like, these brown, like, water streak. And I'm like, what is that from? And it was that. It's the freaking stain coming off. But the same thing on the floor. They stained it, but they never sealed it. So it just comes up, like, with walking. Like, if I steam the floor, it's like, you're steaming off the stain because nobody sealed it. So we're gonna do the whole thing, like we're getting machine to sand and then seal, and hopefully that will stay better and also helps with like the dirt and stuff, because it's sealed, and it's like it's not gonna get all like stuck, and I don't know, it's just different. But we're doing that next because that helps to feel changed. Like I said, my fucking feet are messed up. Like, if I don't feel comfortable and things aren't, like, that's why living in the basement was so hard for me, because everything was just like, It was like, it broke me, okay? I used to be a lot worse than I am with things, so I've gotten better. But it's still a lot to, like, hey, now you're, like, on your own, basically, because that's basically what I, like, will be. I'm not there completely yet, but a lot of times it's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, I know it's gonna like, I've been taking care of myself, trying to, for a long time, and learning for a long time, but it still brings up fears in people. It's still like, can I do this? Especially when you get sick and shit. You're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die. There's nothing I can do, because I can't live. But you, like, don't die is the problem. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to live. If you're gonna make me be in pain 24/7, dying in my bed, I don't want to do that, please. Because it just sucks. I don't. Like, can we cut to the chase? Because no. So, yeah, that's why I'm trying to heal this shit. Because I don't really enjoy it at all. But trauma and pain is usually connected, so we have to stop believing and thinking what we're believing, and it doesn't mean to be what does that say? Average, honesty, angry, don't get set on revenge, try to be, you know, don't be insane, basically, is what it is. Like, just be normal. You know, if you have to deal with people, try not to freak out. But it can be hard. To basically... So hard to read because the papers got all messed up. But people change to numb or just look at what happens, can't realize or allow what... I don't even know what it says. Sometimes it hurts and lost common ground with people. Parents talked about. Yeah, it's basically, if you had a situation, it doesn't have to be toxic. It doesn't have to be like people beat you up, hurt you, hit you, did horrible things to you. Like, it's just living on the planet. Things happen. Like losing a parent in any circumstance is always hard. Like living and having emotional pain with a relationship, like if you met a narcissist and they took some time from you, you know, it's not the best. It's not easy to come back from that because it's abusive and it's toxic and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. It just happened. So just know that that's like how it's set up too. It's like the way that they are, the things that they do, they just trick you, they get you, they reel you in, and then you doubt yourself for the rest of your life. You're like, you think something's wrong with you, and it's like, no, it was totally them, but they want you to think that. So you're gonna probably think that for a while, or still have a hard time coming out and being like, I'm great, I'm awesome sauce, I can handle life, because somebody told you for the longest time that you couldn't, to keep you stuck, so that you wouldn't, you know, live without them, or feel good if you did. So try to show them, prove them wrong, and do good for yourself as much as you can. And look into changing beliefs is the biggest thing. Like, I just bought a thing recently because the guy showed. Oh, and I also wrote this down. It was in my thing the next day after I talked about this in the last podcast. I said, writing with your pen and paper. Over 10,000 new neural pathways are created when you do that. But if you do it on the computer, it's only 600. 600 to 10,000, dude. 10,000 new neural pathways every time you write in your book. Computer, you want to put your little affirmations in the computer, that's 600. Fucking write. Pen to paper, 10,000 new neural pathways of better. I've seen it work really fucking fast with stuff. Like, that I never thought could ever happen. That happened. I was like, holy fucker. Like, that's crazy. So you can create a much better reality if you reprogram your brain and your belief system about yourself and about who you are and like what's real and what's not real. Like, not everybody is out there to get us, and not everybody out there is out there for our highest and best, but we have to fucking, you know, look at like the facts and the stuff around it. And if we, you know, have stuff that's inside of us that we need to fix, we work on it. And if we know others that have stuff inside of them that they need to fix, we hope that they work on it. Or we don't let them do whatever was being done if it was detrimental. You can forgive and forget, but you don't want to repeat, you know? And anything that helps you to feel secure, feel safe, allow yourself to do that, you know? Like if it's sleeping in a certain pattern or changing up where you are, you know, like situated, sometimes that can make a big difference. Like just the direction you're pointing, you know, for the most part of your day, change it up. It might shift things around you just enough to get you out of like sometimes I feel like we get stuck in these places of like feeling away, and then it's like we just had to turn and then we'd be okay. Or do something that helps you. Like, I'm gonna put on some music that I like, or I'm gonna paint, or I'm gonna do something that just changes my energy, changes my focus, changes my life, and keep writing positively. And when something like fucking gout pops up, you know, try to calm yourself down in the place that you're freaking out about, and then figure out what the actual things are too that are connected. Like sugar is not good for it. Fructose is not good for it. What else? I don't know. They were like they talked about a lot of different things, but it was weird because things that they said that would be helpful for it are things that I already like looked at on Amazon the last week and was like purchasing. Like one of them was like a recommended, hey, try this out because Amazon will give you free shipping if you put this in your cart type of thing. So I did, and then the thing that I did that with is the same thing this guy's telling is good for fucking gout. I'm like, huh, shit. See, they are taking care of me. Like, I didn't even know what I was doing, and I was helping myself. And then the Band-Aid stuff, there's, like, these newer Band-Aids that are, like, healing, like, certain content. I don't know what's on it. It's, like, it just forms, like, a new skin to your body, basically. It's, like, high-tech, futuristic skin bonding, you know? But whatever. It was already there, and then today he brings it up again, and I'm like, oh, I guess I do need that dermal tape or whatever. Spirit does talk to us and guide us, and usually when we pay attention, it gets more intense like that. Like, you will be putting stuff in your cart that you need, that you don't even know that you need. They just told you to do it, like, somehow you did it, and then you find out why. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, the more we trust, the better it is, too. And it's hard if you've been through trauma, because it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust that everything's going to be fine, that everything's going to work out, that everything's always going to be okay. But it will really actually be. It may not always be the best. It may hurt. It may, like, sometimes things happen we don't want to happen. But we will get through it. And we'll get to the other side of it. And we're going to survive the majority of it. Some things will end up killing us in the end, but the way there, what doesn't, is supposed to make us stronger. So try to do whatever you need to do for yourself to help make yourself stronger. But, like, the things that I had written down are all fucking messed up in here. But basically, just all of that stuff of thinking and the thoughts, it all comes back to that. It doesn't matter. If you keep telling yourself that you are something, you're going to believe it. You're going to create it. That's what you're going to believe. But if you can teach yourself that that's not the truth, and teach yourself a better truth, life will get easier. You can either write it, speak it, think it, believe it. Just even meditation at night, every night when you go to sleep, listen to the same thing, like telling you over and over where you're headed or who you're becoming or whatever. Like, make yourself an affirmation list that you listen to back at night, because your voice is the voice that's talking to your subconscious all the time. So, like, I know a lot of people some people have come and had me create them things where it's like they listen to it every night because it's like it's like it's kind of like a meditation. But the thoughts that are being introduced to your subconscious is where you need to heal. So that's why it works. Like, listening to that every night of, like, I am worthy of love. I am worthy of whatever comes through. Specifically, like, if it's about your past life, it's about your inner child, it's about whatever, you know. Sometimes people come and like those things come up in their things, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's like just like a general clearing, but you can do that for yourself too with your voice, because your voice knows your tone and all of that. And it's like, I think that could be even more potent than just your regular, you know, guided meditation. See what your I am presence guides you to say to you, to do for you, to show up. Like, how should I be showing up to me right now? What should I be thinking? Where is my block? What is wrong inside of me? Who is it connected to? What do I need to do about it? What can I do about it? Like, you know, just talk to yourself. Because if you aren't big on writing and you don't want to answer those questions down on pen and paper for 6,000 neural pathways, then talk to yourself. At least do something. Make some pathways, you know? So I'm going to go now because we're hitting the 55 minutes on here. I may go back and kind of see. I think I did get everything that I had written down for the most part. It's just that it's like, I can't believe the way that I'm like, why would it do that? But probably so that I would just kind of go on my own and not be like reading off a list. but that all or none thinking, self-protecting, avoiding, sitting, by yourself and blocking yourself from things, thinking of destruction or bad stuff, thinking that nobody out there really cares, or having the denials or the blames on yourself or others. None of that is good. So you're going to change those things, look for the evidence of what's actually true. Realize if it's, maybe people think you have ADHD, it's more so that you are, having a lot of songs play in the back of your head from a lot of things happening in your life. But stream of conscious writing, self-care, breath work, things that we talked about in the last video, all that stuff helps. And obviously meditation, guided meditation, energy healing, all of those things. You can do it yourself, find out somebody else, whatever. But in Renee, namaste.